Weather conditions today, temperature of 10 degrees, wind southwest 12 miles an hour. With the wind chill factor, it feels like it's 10 below. And it's supposed to get colder as the afternoon goes by. Good afternoon, though. I am Pat Summerall here with my colleague John Madden.
So welcome back. Our next adventure is taking us right out here to Southlake, Texas. We're out here for a reason. Right behind me, you can't see it from here, but right behind me across that field is the home of Pat Summerall. But also directly below me, let's see, we got some friends over here. Look, 3 of them. Oh, there they are. There they are. Look. Now, they're not going to join me on this video, just in the opening part of it right here, but they're here hanging out with us. Just 3 donkeys, as I like to call them, donkos. They're here in Southlake, Texas, so we're going to head up the road and check out the home of the late, great Pat Summerall. So we're still over here in this little field. We got a little guest coming up to greet us. There he is. We got a little goat. See if he's got anything to input on this Pat Summerall video. I don't think he's a goat, a few words. So anything you want to contribute, sir? Anything to say? What's it like living down the road from the house of Pat Summerall? No, not too much to say. Doing an interview here. This is a Yells Duo interview. This guy here is a donkey. He's got nothing to say. Sir, what's it like living next to Pat Summerall? Your thoughts? No? Well, here comes somebody. Let's see. Your thoughts, sir? Yes, I totally agree. One of the best broadcasters, if not the best, in sports. Well, I think these guys have said it all. They've said enough. I mean, we're going to leave them be, leave them to their field. We're going to head on down the road and check out Pat Summerall's home. So we're making our way down to Pat's home, or I should say former home. And a little busy out here on the streets, a little windy as well, so I apologize. But just a little insight on Pat Summerall. His name was actually George Allen Pat Summerall. Born May 10th, 1930, died April 16th, 2013. He was an American football player, television sportscaster who worked for CBS, Fox, and ESPN. Now, in addition to football, his football duties, he also announced major golf and tennis events. Summerall announced 16 Super Bowls on network television, 26 Masters tournaments, and 21 U.S. Opens. Back in 1981 is when Pat Summerall was teamed with former Oakland Raiders coach John Madden. That was a pairing that would last for 22 seasons on 2 networks, and it became one of the most well-known partnerships in TV sportscasting history. This right here is the former home of Pat Summerall, 710 South Whitechapel Boulevard here in Southlake. You can see right over here, you can see Amazing Grace. It's what they named their mansion. As a matter of fact, the initials were engraved in the white marble floors in the foyer of this mansion right here. So kind of giving you a little panoramic view, but it was in 1996 when Pat and his wife built this 8,500 square foot home. Now on July 31st, July 31st, 2021, the South Lake Fire Department was called to this home just a little bit after 5 a.m. There was a fire. Now when the fire department arrived out here, the multi-million-dollar mansion was engulfed in flames. Fortunately, it was unoccupied as it was undergoing renovations at the time.
Previously owned by the late national sportscaster Pat Summerall, significantly damaged after a fire this morning. Take a look at this. Our Rachel O'Neill has more on the story.
Around 5 o'clock this morning, South Lake firefighters say they arrived on the scene to put out a fire on this 5-acre property. Nearly 50% of the multi-million-dollar home was burned. Firefighters and the South Lake Fire Marshal says they're not sure what caused it. The mansion has been undergoing renovations. The interior designer of the home says the new owners were just 1 week away from moving in. Now that date could be pushed back months. Fortunately, no one was inside when the fire happened, and no one was hurt, something firefighters say is a blessing.
I've been a police officer for 15 years, so it was a good day. I mean, it's a lot of loss of property, but that's why we have insurance. The fire department was here super fast, and that's one of the great things about being in a small community like this. Everything's pretty close, and we were up and at 'em ready to put it out.
But it's beautiful. I'll drop some pictures in of the house, of the inside. You guys can kind of see what it looks like, and also of the fire that engulfed the house back in 2021. But there it is. This is former home of Pat Summerall. So we had to make a little pit stop before we head over to the cemetery. You can see the Dallas skyline right there in the background. That little archway, that's the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. But I didn't come to this area to show you that. I came to show you this. This awesome mural right here. This was just unveiled a couple days ago. That a couple of the wrestlers, Dallas Cowboys, were also down here during this unveiling. WrestleMania right here in Dallas, April 2nd, April 3rd, AT&T Stadium. What a cool mural. I had to come by and include this in the video. This was a nice little pit stop, and it was on the way, so why not? Well, we've made our way to the cemetery right out here. It's in Dallas, Texas. We are here at the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery. Nothing but veterans buried inside these walls. So we're going to head inside through here and go to Pat Summerall's grave. But before we get to Pat's grave, we do have a little pit stop to make prior. So we're going to go do that right now. So come along. So it's right in this area. This is section 33. The find a grave site doesn't actually give you the exact coordinates, just the section and then kind of the row that it's in. So it's section 33, site 780 is what we're going to be looking for. Again, this isn't Pat Summerall. We haven't made our way over to him just yet. We're doing a little pit stop. So let's go see if we can find this guy. All right. I actually just stumbled across it. It was easier to find than I thought. Either that or I just got very lucky. But right here is the actor. There he is, James Hampton. Now, some of you may not know his name, but James Hampton was best known as Michael J. Fox's dad in the movie Teen Wolf. The movie Teen Wolf 2, he was also in that. He was in Sling Blade, the TV show F Troop, and that's just to name a few. James Hampton is a veteran. He was actually worked as a short order cook until 1942, and that's when he was drafted into the United States Armed Forces. He was in the Army. He served as a carpenter with a non-combatant 385th Aviation Squadron. And now, as you can tell from the headstone, he died just recently, a little over almost a year ago, April 7th, 2021. He was resided in Fort Worth. He was 84 years old, and he died of complications from Parkinson's disease. But there he is. James Hampton, U.S. Army, beloved husband, a joyful heart. Rest in peace, James. Well, we've made our way over to Pat's grave. It's not really a grave, it's more like it's been cremated. So let's go over and see his marker. And there he is, Pat Summerall. Now, as you notice, obviously Pat Summerall is a veteran. He served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. He attended boot camp at Fort Jackson in South Carolina. It's back in January of 1951. Now, while he was serving in the U.S. Army Reserve, he also played Arkansas Razorback football. He played defensive end, the tight end, and was also the kicker. Now, how Pat Summerall passed away, I mean, he was known as a heavy drinker. I mean, back in the the spring of 2004, he actually had to undergo a liver transplant. But back in 2013, Pat checked into the St. Paul University Hospital here in Dallas for surgery on a broken hip. He actually ended up dying there on April 16, 2013 of cardiac arrest at the age of 82. But there he is, Pat Summerall, one of the greatest broadcasters in history. 1930 to 2013, a loved husband, dad, and also known as Big Pat. Well, that concludes our adventure. That concludes this video of Pat Summerall here at the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery. All these brave men and women buried here. Beautiful place. I've never been here before. Beautiful cemetery, beautiful grounds, well maintained. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Pat Summerall was somebody I grew up watching. Well, you know, back in the 80s when I first got into football. Him and John Madden, I would have to say, one of the top 3 pairings of all time. You know, everyone has their favorites. That's going to be in my top 3. So kudos to Pat Summerall, and hopefully one day we'll get out to see John Madden. I don't know where he's going to be buried or if he's buried yet at the moment. He may not be buried anywhere at all where people can go pay their respects, but we shall see. John Madden, one of the finest. Pat Summerall, one of the finest. We'll see you next time.
And with another 49-yard field goal, the Giants win 20-3. That's football's finest place kicker.
As a player, broadcaster, and as a person, Pat Summerall untangled life's twists and turns with determination and understatement. Even though he was born with a club foot that had to be surgically straightened, his passion for sports drove him to a career in football. For the rest of his career, Pat worked with John Madden in a partnership that spanned over 2 decades and 2 networks. They were one of the most successful broadcasting duos in NFL history.
All the way back to the 11. We've been here since Monday, and I felt like running down and playing. I have goosebumps all over. I'm glad we didn't.
Pat is such a professional, and Pat is everything. And he's so smooth. I mean, he's like silk. I rant and rave and go off on tangents, and then Pat, in a word or two, can get you, boom, right back, and there you go.
He did cut him.
His elegance and intelligence and experience, common sense and friendship. It's all those things. It's not just that. I mean, he's the perfect guy. And if anyone can't get along with Pat Summerall, you can't get along with anyone.